Willie D Live.
It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, Dr. Boyce Watkins.
What's happening, brother?
What's up, King?
Man, it's good to see you again, brother.
Man, it's always good to see you, brother. I mean, you got a lot going on, man. You are an economist. You're an author. You are a political analyst. You're a social influencer. Do you like that title, social influencer? You embrace it?
You know what, man? I don't even live off titles like that.
Yeah.
I just exist, man. You know, I don't know what the fuck I am, to be honest with you. I just I live through whatever God's purpose is for me at that time.
Right.
You know, and I state it that way because I feel like the universe just it pushes you in certain directions and there's certain things you're supposed to say, and I've tapped into that internal energy that says, okay, something's telling me to say this, I gotta say it. Something's telling me to do this, I gotta do it. And I believe in trust in that. You know what I mean? Because that's like your it's the universe or a higher power, but it's also your subconscious mind, which is where all that really lives anyway. And it's pushing you in a certain direction. You know, It took me time to get to that point to really trust myself. That's why, for example, I can go I could go online and say something that I know 99% of all people are going to disagree with. But if the signal's strong, you just go with it. You know what I mean? And you know it's going to be okay.
That's crazy. You are not afraid to go there. It's often said that a person who is a jack of all trades is a master of none. But somehow, man, it seems like you've been able to debunk that theory. How do you do it? How do you juggle so many things at once and is so good at all of those things?
Purpose, right? Hard work. You know what I mean? Like every day is just, you know, like life is short. You know what I mean? Like we're all going to be dead soon, and ain't nobody going to remember much of what we did. This is our time, you know, and so if you're not living your purpose and really doing what you're supposed to do, you're just wasting that time. You know, a lot of people do that. They get up, go to work, come home, go to bed, get up, go to work, come home, go to bed, and just repeat a process. And then you just grow old and die, you know. And I was determined to kind of break that pattern. And so each day, I think about the black community every single day, right? You know, my number one goal is, and I think this is why we became friends, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you what you said to me that really let me know that we should be friends, man, is my goal is, like, as a black man, to be as free as possible, as strong as possible, and as impactful as possible. And I think you do that through courage. You do that through intelligence. You do that through strategy. You can't sit around and feel sorry for yourself. You just got to go hard with it, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'll even say that what led us to be friends was, I remember you said something where you said, ain't nothing you can do to me that I can't do to you. And I like that statement because I hear too many black men talk about what the white man he could do this and they gonna do that and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, but you can punch back too. Mm-hmm. You know, you have a divine power that really nobody can match. I don't think anybody can really match a strong, smart, intelligent black man when he's at his best. I think when we're at our best, we become like real life superheroes. You know what I mean? And I like that about you because I can see where you were tapped into that. You know what I mean? So ultimately, man, I think it's about playing offense, in your life. You can't just play defense. You can't just be scared, like, oh, what are they going to do to me next? And how are they going to attack me next? No, you play offense. Make them respond to you. You know, you ain't got to always respond to them. So there we go.
Perfect. Let's go back to Louisville, Kentucky, your hometown, the hometown of one of the greatest fighters that ever existed, Muhammad Ali. Have you ever met Muhammad Ali?
Never met him, man. I feel like
now,
I have.
How do you live? How are you born in Louisville, Kentucky, and still have a connection in Louisville, Kentucky after all these years, and not have met the greatest?
Because he left Kentucky for the same reason I did. He left because the racism, and just and you know that you're from Texas, so I mean that's probably worse, but.
I've never experienced a racial incident in my life yet. I just want to say that out loud.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man.
We're post-racial in Texas, but go ahead.
Yeah, man. But it was like one of those things, man, where Ali left. Ali he wasn't. It wasn't like he was around when I was growing up. But he was a legend, and everybody talked about him. My father would talk about him, and I would watch his movies and all that. And I remember he did that movie called The Greatest. And actually, there was a scene in that movie where they were in the Omni Hotel, I think, in Atlanta. And that's actually where we're having the All-Black National Convention. And in fact, that's why I was excited when they picked that hotel, when the team did. I said, yeah, that was in the movie The Greatest. And the reason I think about that movie is because in that movie, when he was talking about, I believe the children are our future and all that, I felt like he was talking about me. Like, I felt like I was one of those kids that he was actually being courageous for, to clear a path for later. So Ali was always a part of my spirit, man. I would read books about him, and my father bought me this thing where his handprints were in it. I put my handprints up against his. He has real small hands, by the way. It was real surprising. And so he was that Ali spirit definitely was there. And I remember when I would go through tough situations, I would look at his life and the stuff he went through. And I would be like, well, what I'm going through ain't nothing compared to what he went through. He fought through that in the 60s. I could fight through this in the 90s and the 2000s. So Ali was present. My grandmother went to high school with him. So she's got a lot of, just really interesting but uninteresting stories about the family. Like, she'll talk about something random like, oh yeah, they lived down the street and they would come down and eat the chicken, just stuff like that. It's like regular stories like that. But the legend of Ali was always like a part of Louisville, man. And I was always very proud of the fact that this guy could come from the same town I came from and impact the whole world. That was real cool, because Louisville ain't exactly a city that you talk about in daily conversation. It's not like Chicago or New York or whatever. And the fact that this guy was around the world and had everybody talking about Louisville, man, that's inspirational. So Ali was one of my greatest heroes. I know his daughter, but and her husband, they're real cool people. But I never met Ali.
Which daughter?
Layla.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that was the boxer.
Well, I didn't want to assume.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a few kids, I think.
Let's talk about your earlier upbringing. You are the product of a teen mother. Mm-hmm. Shouts out to Robin Couch.
Wow.
Yeah, shouts out to Robin Couch. Your father, your biological father, it said that you've only spoken to him like 3 times in your entire life. Your stepfather, who married your mother at the age of when you was 3 years old, right?
Yeah.
This is Larry Watkins.
Yeah.
Larry Watkins was an interesting guy. He was a stern, tough disciplinary who became a police officer.
Yeah.
Now, that is a very interesting dynamic to me when I think about the Boyce Watkins I know today. Mm. I can see the disciplinary side of you, but what I cannot see is the disciplinary side of you that came from your stepfather, because I'm assuming that he had more of an impact on you than your biological father did.
Yeah.
What I can see is the systemic side of being raised by a police officer and the way that you hold police officers accountable for their actions. Now, was there any type of rift there between you and your stepfather at times where you thought that he was being too much of a controller?
Well, I'm sure he wasn't happy when he came home one day and I was blasting "fuck the police" on the on the stereo system, and it's like but I don't have that "fuck the police" mindset though. What you learn when you see police work up close, most people don't really understand the life of a cop. We judge it from a distance, but I saw different kinds of cops. I saw the good and the bad. I saw the black and the white. I saw the corrupt, and I saw the guys who just went out there and the women who went out there and put their lives on the line for perfect strangers. And the main difference that I gained from being raised by a cop was the nuance of it. That it's there are systematic problems. The racism's real. My father joined the force. He talks about how some of those guys were literally in the KKK on the force, and they told him we ain't gonna hire no black people. And somehow he got the job. And he said that, he talked about the blue wall, because police are a gang. That's what they are. They're just the biggest, most powerful state-sanctioned street gang in the city. And so that gang mentality was very similar to any other gang, where you have codes of behavior, no snitching, that kind of thing. So he said that blue wall was so strong that these Klansmen would defend my father before they defend a random white guy on the street, because it was about protection and safety and all this other stuff, right? So police corruption is real. I think policing got real bad during the crack era when they put all those drugs in the black community, and then they started weaponizing the cops. They're doing all these terrible things to black people. And so policing needed to be corrected for sure. What I think we have to do is understand the consequences of how we approach it, though. If you approach it like a bull in the china shop, then what you're going to do is, actually this did happen. I knew a lot of good black cops. I knew a guy that was a police commander. I've known him since kindergarten. He ain't waking up trying to kill black people. He's waking up trying to figure out how not to kill nobody. He just want to come home every day, do his job, protect the right people, whatever. He said black people do not want to be on the police force anymore because everybody thinks that if you black and you a cop, you must be a sellout. So they're like, I don't want to be a sellout. So what happened is that before, on the police force, you would get some qualified candidates for the job, college graduates, people just trying to do the right thing or whatever. He said now they're drawing like a much lower applicant pool. They're drawing people that don't give a shit if you call them a racist or not, or crazy people that really want to have a gun and tell people what to do. So the quality of the policing declined, I think, as a result of the fact that we were not careful about how we kind of addressed the issue. But there's a problem with policing, and it's not to blame society though. You have to blame the system. You got to understand the root of policing, how it was rooted in slavery. The racial issues were very real, so it had to be corrected. I just hope it gets corrected the right way, because if you don't correct it the right way, then that means that when you do need a police officer to help you, it's not going to turn out the way you think.